Hey, we're going to be doing some Python programming. I think this might be somewhat of a continuation of the last problem. I'm trying to remember that we were actually working on. I've had some issues with recording, and I'm trying a new screen capture recording device, seeing how that's working out. Adobe Captive. I don't know anything about it, so we're testing it out. But what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be finding the average of an unknown number of integers. Find the average of an unknown, number of n integers. Unknown number of n integers. I believe that's what we're doing. So the first thing we'll do is initialize variable the sum, where we'll be adding up the unknown as we go, and then of course we're going to print off we're going to print the, I'll just copy and paste this. How's that? Right. Move this over here so you can see what's going on. And we'll go to the next line. Now, we are inserting our data in, but we're not going to actually tell it in the program like we did in the previous one, or ask. I'm sorry, it was actually asked how many integers are we going to be inputting. And so what we're going to do here is when it sees that we have typed 0, the number 0, then we will get quit. The program will actually quit. Okay, so we'll want to type 0 for quit to get it to quit. Okay, and alright, so now what we'll want to do is we will be labeling, just like we did in the previous one, where we will actually label each the data item that we're going to be putting it in. We'll label it. We'll give it a label like 1 and then item and so forth. Now this right here, we're going to spell this while statement. We haven't done this one yet. What this is going to do is this is going to give us like an infinite loop. Okay, when the while statement is true, it just continues to run until something tells it to stop. And that's what we'll be doing here in just a second. Alright, so we'll want to input our data. That's what this command is, and assign it to that int of I right there. And so we'll have to convert this number to a string, since we're concatenating with the string. And of course that's going to be the number of our item. And I think it'll become more clear when we run the program, probably. Right? So instead of saying integer 1, integer 2, integer 3, integer 4, and so on, like we did in the previous program, I'm just going to say item. So pretend you're at the cash register and somebody has brought some items up to the register that you want to add up. Now what this line here is, this is going to be an if statement. If int of I is equal to 0, remember when we type 0 in, that means we want to quit, we're done. Okay, and remember this right here means equal. Just one of these quality signs like this is an assignment operator in programming, so you got to remember this 2 equal signs means it's actually equal to. Alright, so that's something that people sometimes have a hard time wrapping their head around at first. Okay, so if this happens and this is true, then what we'll do is we will break the program. Okay, we will actually stop the program. Alright, else if that's not true, okay, if this is not true, then we'll go to the next line. That's what the else is. So if this is not true, then this must be true. and that is, this is when we're going to be summing up. Now remember, put your cursor here and just hit enter. Okay, just hit enter. Alright, or you're going to have some white space issues. You want to put the cursor there and then hit enter. Okay, so then here's where we're going to sum up our data. So our data is int of I, right? And so we just, this is the command here, the assignment, where we get to sum up all our stuff. Right? Okay, this guy here, now remember there's a couple ways of writing this in. We can do it like that, or we can do it simply like that. And you know what? I'll just do it like this right here. Okay, so this guy counts the number of items. Alright, that's going to count the number of items there. Of course, not the number of items, it's going to be counting all the stuff that's on the screen anyway. You'll see it here in just a minute. And now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and print off. Okay, we want to come all the way to the left over here now. And so we say print. So we're going to print a couple things here. We're going to print off the sum. I know we were doing the average, I think. But we're going to print off the sum of the numbers. So we're going to take that string and concatenate it with the sum. All right. Okay, remember we got to turn that into a string. And then we're going to break to the next line. So we'll need to do that. And now we're going to write, let's see, the average is, right, and we'll have to concatenate that. Okay, so we're taking the sum, since we're finding the average, we take the sum and divide it by C minus 1. Now, the reason we're using C minus 1 is because C is going to actually, for example, if we put in 4 data points, then the last one's going to end up being displaying 0, and that would be the 5th one. So we'll have to subtract off 1 because we only really have 4 data points. But let's go ahead and you know what? I think I need another parentheses on the end of that. Let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. Go ahead and do that. And what was that? We got an error or something. Something flashed and I didn't see what that was, so we're going to have to invalid syntax error. Okay, that's definitely not good because I don't have a clue where that could be at. An syntax error, wow. Let me you know what, let me do this here. I don't know where the syntax error is. Let me, 1 second here. Yeah, I don't have a clue of where that could have been. There shouldn't have been one. So let me just copy and paste that again, recopy it. Okay, looks like that's gonna, there's no telling. Alright, we're going to find the average of an unknown number of integers. So item number 1, okay, and then it says, well, this should say type 0 to quit. I guess I didn't have that in there, but okay, so item number 1, let's say it's $2 and then $4 and then let's say $3, $1, okay, and then let's say that we're done. And so let's take a look at this. Alright, so we got 4, 5, 6, 7, and we take 7 and divide it by 3, and we should be getting, let's see, 7 divided by 3, we should be getting 2.33, right, if everything is working out there. So let's 7 divided by 3, yeah, 2.33. Okay, So pretty simple stuff. As you can see, we can always move this over if you wanted to, put a space if you wanted to line those guys up there. All right. You can tweak this however you want to do it, but this is more realistic here because we never know how many items we want. Now we inputted an integer here. Okay, we inputted an integer. We could somehow figure out how to work this out to where we type in the letter Q. Type in the letter Q and then the program breaks. So I'll let you try to figure out how in the world that you do that. All right. So anyway, we're going to conclude that. So this is all the stuff that we've kind of learned. I think we've added some new stuff like the break statement here, and of course where we put true here to continue this to keep going until eventually there's some kind of command in here that will actually break the program. Stop the program, I should say. So over here at Python, let me just say this. So in the next video, we're going to kind of do something fun. It's stuff that you've already learned in the previous videos. We're going to write a program for high-low. So in other words, guess a number between 1 and 100, and it'll tell you whether it's too high or too low. And we want to try to figure out what's the minimum number of guesses that we could possibly make, and then eventually we're going to actually write a simulation to where we don't do the guessing, but we write an algorithm that does the guessing for us. And anyway, so that'll be fun. Alright, so we're using what we have learned, and we will be adding a little bit to it as we go, but just with what you've learned up to this point, there's a lot of things that you can do. Okay. So I shall see you in the next video. Whoops. Trying to figure out how to get this thing to quit. Control S, I thought. No. Let's see. Control Alt S. Shift S. No. I'm just now learning this. I thought it was S. Darn it. Alt S. Stop. Escape.